It ain't the left side or the right side, and it must be the FinSide. It ain't the left side.
Thank you, Sola D. Welcome to another episode of On the FinSide here with Kat and Paul. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Spreaker, iTunes, YouTube, iHeartRadio, and Spotify. I'm Brian Cat NFL. Paul is Fanatic_pick. The newest Miami Dolphin here with the 56th overall pick is Alabama defensive tackle Raekwon Davis. Very, very big man, 6'6", 311 pounds. A player that we've really gotten to see a lot of over the last couple of years. I mean, this was somebody even 3 years ago was being talked about as a potential top 10 or top 15 pick. Never quite improved as much at the University of Alabama. But, Paul, at that size, when you take a look at him and Robert Hunt, who they drafted on offense in the second round, clearly a pattern emerging where the Dolphins are looking to take that beef and that size up on both sides of the lines.
Yeah, but they're not compromising athleticism with any of these picks, which takes a lot to be able to get that many athletic, massive guys. I mean, I think NFL.com had the NFL comparison of DeForest Buckner for him. And he can get a pass rush up the middle. He's a tough player. And he was a leader along that defensive line. And one of the reasons that a few people got upset was Miami taking a defensive tackle early. What folks need to remember is in the NFL these days, you basically have 3 or 4 starters at the 2 or 3 positions along your defensive front with those big meat monsters, as I like to call them. And you know, just because you're not out there with the starters doesn't mean you're not part of that starting rotation, because they rotate defensive tackles frequently depending on situation, depending on keeping them fresh, and you really want to keep those fat guys fresh in that Miami sun.
Yeah, you know, when this pick was first made, I was disappointed with it, very simply because for the last 2 years, I've had it in my head that Raekwon Davis is a disappointing player, that he hasn't improved. He was supposed to be a top 10 guy. He never took that step up, and that's a problem. And I still kind of feel that way to a certain extent. You mentioned DeForest Buckner. I've heard that comparison too. I think a big difference is DeForest Buckner is a lot more athletic, a lot bendier at the point of attack, but they play a same role here along the defensive line. My comparison for Raekwon Davis is actually former Dolphin Daryl Gardner. They're the same size. They're a stay-at-home defensive tackle. And if you accept them for what they are, that, okay, Raekwon Davis is not going to be a top 5 or a top 10 pick, but you put him on that defensive line with Christian Wilkins and with Davin Gotcha, you have 3 really good run stoppers that can be physical at the point of attack, and then the players around them can cut into the backfield.
Yeah, and let's face it, Christian Wilkins and Rake McMillan Raekwon Davis, too many rakes and too many B. Joneses on this damn roster now. It's Jesus Christ. That's going to lead to some confusion for a lot of folks, I guarantee it, moving forward. But really, I mean, Rake Davis and Christian Wilkins both have the ability to get to the quarterback up the middle, which is only going to help set the edge for those outside rushers and for those linebackers. You really don't know who's coming from where based on the football players that Flores and Greer have thrown in the mix on defense for Miami. So it is a good move here, and you've also got Zach Sealer in that mix as well. So your defensive tackle position's very strong at the point of attack. There's a couple other guys we'll talk about that I think are going to kick inside on passing downs too.
Yeah, they really need to show him and teach him, Marion Hobby, the defensive line coach, to get to the quarterback by pushing the pocket, because he was not a pass rusher. He did not get to the quarterback at Alabama the last 2 years, and that's the knock against him. In 2017, he had 8.5 sacks. In 2018, he had a sack and a half. This past year, he had half a sack. Tackles for loss in 2017, he had 10. 2018, he had 5.5. 2019, he had 3. And if you look at PFF's grades, he seems to be declining by the year too. That's a concern there, that you don't have a player with the profile that's elevating heading into the NFL. But if you're talking about a late second round pick and somebody that you desperately need to add size to that defensive line, play that 5 technique role, then I do think that he fits an immediate need and makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, so for me, I give this a B or B minus for a lot of the reasons that you mentioned. But again, I think Raekwon Davis was a guy that the Dolphins were ridiculously linked to the point of almost feeling like a smokescreen leading up to the draft. And sure enough, they grabbed him in what I view as a little bit early to get a player I think they really wanted here.
Yeah, I'm going to stay with a B minus too, because I've come around on this a lot more. Because again, he's somebody that you can really plug in and just say, hey, do what you did at Alabama, and I think that creates an impact simply because of his size. And now you look at the rest of the defensive line. They were so soft on the edges last year. And now you've got Raekwon Davis at 6'6", 311. You've got Shaq Lawson at 6'3", 280 on the edge. You've also got Emmanuel Ogbah at 6'4", 275. From a size perspective, you've really taken that up a lot. So that will do it for our breakdown of Raekwon Davis, the newest Miami Dolphin, who went 56th overall. I'm Brian Cat NFL. Paul is fanatic_pick on Twitter. Be sure to take a look at all of these breakdowns that the Dolphins have, because God knows they had a lot of them here. and the Dolphins are going to be better for it. And if it's not on the right side and it's not on the left side, it is on the FinSide. Solo D, take us home.
It ain't the left side or the right side, and it must be the FinSide. It ain't the left side or the right side, and it must be the FinSide. Listen, Dolphins fans across the land all tuning in to see what